Welcome to The Spirit Inside. Today's episode, I'm covering Galliano Autentico, an Italian product. So you know there's going to be a lot of fun pronunciations. So the reason why I'm doing this episode is because I actually have another tequila episode I want to do. And for the mix section, I need this tall boy here. And I figured before I break the seal on this one, I might as well give it its own video. So that's where we are today. Now, I'm completely unfamiliar with this product. During my research, I find that it's like a very trusted ingredient for professional bartenders. And other than that, let's jump into it. But I gotta get in the habit of doing this. Like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff. Can't believe it's 2025 and still gotta do that. And again, there's a lot of stuff in 2025 I can't believe I'm seeing and hearing, but whatever. So let's get on to it. Now, to give you some history on the Galliano product, I need to give you at least a little bit of short history on the Italian war hero that it's named after. Now, just to be clear, I'm gonna go give you a really shallow and brief history on the person of Galliano. I mean, I could do a whole video on him alone. He's a very interesting person, but this video is not about him. It's about the liqueur named after him. But just to give you an idea of who he is, I'll give you a little bit of this information here. The man in question is Maggiore Giuseppe Galliano. Maggiore is just Italian for major, like a rank. He was born in 1846 in Vicoforte Mondovì in Italy's Piedmont regions. I feel like I would just say the words with like Italian accent, that maybe it'll sound better, but I don't want to offend anybody. If I did this, probably shouldn't do that. You know, at the age of 12, Giuseppe went to a military college called Asti. And his first exploit that got him a lot of fame and got him labeled as an Italian hero is when he was sent to Africa in what is modern day Ethiopia. And he had a battle the Abyssinians. Not an Italian word, but still just as tough. He was there, he was leading the 3rd Battalion at Fort Eda Jesus. And he fought there a much larger Abyssinian army for 44 days before he was finally given the order to retreat. This got him a lot of positive attention. He was promoted to lieutenant colonel. He got a silver medal from the King of Italy at the time, and all this happened in 1896. And then after that, he was sent to another battle with the Abyssinians, and once again, he was leading his Italian troops, and he was again greatly outnumbered. I don't know what Italy was doing at this time, where they just kept on sending the army against other armies in another country, greatly outnumbered. And then they send their war hero, and he was basically well known at this time. He was a war hero already. Unfortunately, it didn't go so well this time. This time they were defeated, and Giuseppe's body was never recovered. Way to treat your war hero there, Italy, but I digress. Now, that was a very brief history of Galliano the man. Now, I'm not doing him justice. Like I said, the video was about the liqueur named after him, not about him. But just to give you some context of who he is, we need to switch to talking about Arturo Vaccari. Arturo comes from a line of liquor producers. His father was in the business, and he had his own distilling company called Distilleria Arturo Vaccari. Sorry, I can help myself. Not a very imaginative name. He basically just named it after himself. Now, to create the liqueur that would be named after Galliano, the Italian hero, Victor worked with a company called Fratelli Marsacci. Again, sorry if I'm butchering that. This is important because this company that he's working with, it's high in the Italian Alps, and this is where a lot of the ingredients that they would use in Galliano would be found. Galliano the liquor, not the person. Now, Arturo, he was known as a very clever and smart businessman. So when he completed his creation in 1896, he figured he would sell the product better if he named it after Galliano, the Italian war hero. Now, 1896, this is when he got the medal from the silver medal from the Silver Star, I guess, just from the King of Italy, and got all this fame. So it was very fresh. It was like it was something in the past to him. It was like happening right in the moment. He said, "Oh, this guy's famous. I'll just name it after him and ride his coattails." And I guess it worked. I mean, it became very popular. I was wondering, like, Galliano, the person, caught wind of this and thought, hey, what the heck? Do I get a piece of it or what? I don't know. I couldn't find anything in my research about that, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. Now, this is also the era of the gold rush. So Arturo, according to multiple sources that I found, made it so it had this golden color. And since I was able to verify it through multiple sources, I guess it's true. I think it's kind of weird because I get we know the gold rush was a big deal then, obviously, because people are actually going there to find their fortune, and it's definitely a big thing now in history. But like, how do you know that it would be a big deal over time? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just took a chance. And something that I find questionable about that, even though I verified it through multiple sources, that he's trying to create this new liqueur. He wants to be a success. What if you found like the perfect thing that was tasted great, but it was clear or some other color? Then he was going to keep on messing with it just to get the color right? I don't know. It seems a little strange, but I guess it's, from what I can tell, it's true. And again, this is all a marketing ploy because the gold rush was popular. So hey, here's this, I don't know exactly what the connection is other than the color. I don't know. There must have been more to the marketing in that, hey, you're going to California to seek your fortune, take a bottle of this, it's gold also. I don't know. I couldn't find any specifics on how the marketing play was to work, but I guess to some degree it was successful also. So naming it after the war hero and then purposely making it so it had this color so it matched, I guess, the current times. Everybody's had gold rush fever. I guess it worked. It became very popular. Fratelli Marsacci, like I said, is the ones who actually would produce Galliano. So I don't understand if Arturo has a distillery named after him, why he's not just doing it himself. I guess it's not that unusual. That happens today where people have a product, but it's really somebody else's, production line, another company that's really physically producing it. I'm kind of doing this from memory, but I also know that like the area where he's based out of, where he worked with Fratelli Marsacci, like that area was known for like producing liquor and liqueurs, and they were just a little bit higher up in the Alps. But that whole area was like an industrial thing for liquor making. So I guess that kind of makes sense that you might have a product you want to bring to market, but you don't necessarily have the equipment and the space. So you go to a factory or a distillery that does that and have a section for you. You just coordinate your ingredients or whatever and tell them, hey, this is how you make it. Said, okay, and they do it. Something we have today. A lot of that kind of manufacturing happens like in China and overseas. But a little bit more on Fratelli Marsacci. It was established in 1888. And it produced various liquors and liqueurs for various brands, like I said. They're still in business to this very day. The only thing was it's just a name change. It's Marsacci and Corici. Again, these Italian names are killing me. I guess I could go Marsacci and Corici, but I don't know if that really helps. I'll put it on the screen. It's spelled, the second name, the new second name is spelled Quirici. I know the QU is a Qu sound, right? And then from the actress Christina Ricci, I know how to pronounce her name, so Ricci, that's my best guess. And to this day, they are still the ones who produce Galliano. Now, I'm going to compress a lot of history here. The thing to know is that, eventually Arturo sold, cashed out, and it got sold over the years, so multiple times. The problem was that every time new owners came and went, they would interfere with the actual production and recipe just to lower costs and boost profits. Typical, whatever you want to say, capitalism or greediness. Just, had a good thing and then couldn't be satisfied, wanted just another penny or whatever. And so over time, it did sort of hit a peak in the 70s. It was very popular, but then starting in the 80s, it just kind of dropped off. But then in 2006, a Dutch company called Lucas Bols purchased the brand, and they worked with Marsacci and Corici to return it to its original recipe. And Lucas and Bols are still the owners to this very day. And from my research is Galliano is enjoying a bit of a renaissance, and it seems very it's getting a lot of popular reviews now that it's gone back, I guess, to the original recipe. Hopefully I feel the same way. Like I said, it's all new to me, and yeah, let's just head into the review. So the first thing always is the packaging and the bottle itself. Oh boy, I got some mixed feelings about this. I didn't include this in the history because I know we'll talk it here, but obviously this is a tall boy or gal. It's meant to be that way, obviously, and the idea was that it's supposed to, since it's an Italian product, it's supposed to invoke the Roman columns, and I can kind of see that, although it's got these grooves in it that match sort of the grooves you see in Roman columns. I get that. And look, there was also an intent with this bottle design. If you're at a bar and you have your bottles displayed in a professional restaurant or bar that it's open to the public and you want to make an impression, it'll grab your attention. If you go looking for this, like at whatever your local liquor store, Bevmo, or Total Wine & More, it's easy to find. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But boy, this thing's a pain in the ass to store. Luckily, I had one spot in my kitchen where it has an extra tall space cabinet and there's no shelf that I have to move around, so I got a little lucky there. But something that occurred to me from these last few videos I've been doing is that I'm sure these companies would never do that because of cost effectiveness and trying to make profit, but if they want these fancy bottles with the weird tops and the weird shapes to whatever look attractive in a restaurant or in a bar, in a nightclub, whatever, fine. But they should then also have like a separate line where they bottle the same thing, the same product, but in a more practical bottle. I mean, you could easily take this, squash it down, square it off. I think all companies should consider this. If it's feasible, probably not. I mean, they probably would have done it by now. But I mean, it would have been great if the bottles were squared or rectangle. That way they could fit in the corner of all your cabinets and they can all bunch up together nicely. Because if they're a circle around bottom, obviously there's a bunch of wasted space. And yeah, I mean, obviously no one knowing over the top tall ones like that. For the consumers, it's just at home where you're just whatever drinking at home or having drinks for guests and you're not really trying to impress them with the bottle unless you have it displayed. And if you have it displayed, then you could buy this. But if you just got it stored away and you just bring it out for whenever, it'd be really convenient if all these liquor companies would make their stuff. Heck, put in the dimensions of a Spam can. That'd be perfect because it's be like rectangular and you could fit into your cabinet space and be modular. You could stack them hopefully. And so, I mean, heck, if you don't care what it really looks like when you're at home. So I got kind of mixed feelings about what kind of score I should give this. I mean, as far as execution, what they wanted, sure, they nailed it. But just because they executed what they intended perfectly doesn't mean it was a good idea. I'm going to split the difference between, you know, trying to give them credit for what they wanted to do and succeeding on it, and then not really liking what they wanted to do. You know, it's a scale off of 5, so 2.5 is middle of the road. I'll bump it up to 3 and give them a slightly edge just because it is a cool bottle. It's a simple top. The labeling itself is classy, I guess. It's nothing. It's not like super high quality or anything, but it's got a nice label and everything. So I'll give it a 3. I'm gonna break this seal here. Check out the aroma. Yeah, at least it's got a simple screw top. Nothing ridiculous. All right, and this right here. Oh, it reminds me of something. Oh, I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of yeah, like a cross between Jägermeister and absinthe. And those get a strong reaction for people. I mean, people are either yay Jaeger or same thing with absinthe. I like both, and this has a strongest smell-wise. Reminds me of those two. You know, it's herbs and spices and it's kind of medicinal. A little bit flowery though. It's kind of air now, so at first it was really pungent, but it's starting to mellow out. Smells fine. I'll give it a 3.5. So the actual appearance of the liqueur, in the bottle, it is, I mean, yeah, I guess it's supposed to be made this way on purpose to celebrate the gold rush era. Usually this color, when liquor companies come with anything that's kind of golden or yellowish colors, like, can't help but think about, quite frankly, peep. And not this one for some reason. It's got a little bit of hint of green. Maybe it's the bottle, so it doesn't feel like, it's fine. Again, it's not bad, but it's not like this fantastic thing. So again, I'm gonna say a 3.5. Although, let's see if it changes as far as my opinion of it once I pour it out of the bottle. So we'll pour a little bit out. Let's see. Nah, I'm gonna keep it at a 3.5. It's a fine appearance. Oh, here comes one of my favorite parts, the flavor, so fingers crossed. I like it. It definitely reminds me a lot of like Jägermeister. It's got that black licorice base flavor. Do they know something, I think, flowery over the top? Yeah. I mean, it really isn't that far as flavor from Jägermeister. But then it has a little bit, it definitely has a very complex profile. I mean, it starts out really strong, reminds me of Jägermeister. Then it kind of lightens up and kind of evaporates in the mouth, and it's very flowery and soft. And then another kick comes in, and it's strong, and again, it reminds me a lot of Jägermeister. It's like Jaeger, something slightly different, flowery, and then Jaeger at the end. So if you like Jaeger, I would just imagine you'll like this. If you don't like Jaeger or have a bad experience with it, then I mean, give it a try. But if you just don't like Jaeger, I kind of don't see you liking this, at least not straight, maybe in the mix. The mouthfeel, I mean, boy, I gotta work out a way of showing this on camera, but this thing is oily. I mean, it's just clinging to the glass. So there's that, and then how that affects the mouth is that it's just very intense on the tongue, and like I said, in the beginning and on the end, and the middle is nice and kind of neutral. But after that, it doesn't like linger on, doesn't stick around too much. It clears your palate fairly easily. So on the flavor, I mean, for me personally, just because I do like Jaeger, I'm gonna give that a 4. No, you know what, I like a little bit more actual Jaeger. I'm gonna say a 4.5 because that flowery part of the middle was really interesting and it just was pleasant. So 4.5 on the flavor. And for the mouthfeel, when I think about how the experience is drinking it and everything, it's actually really nice how it gives your mouth an experience, but doesn't stay after you're done swallowing it and drinking it. It's done. It's just while you're actively drinking it. So I give that a perfect 5 because unless it's something really, really good, you just want to experience, well, I want an experience while I'm drinking it, and then when it's down the gullet, I want it to cut off, because usually my experience, if you still feel something in your mouth and something lingering, it's usually not always the best experience. It's like this aftertaste that sticks to your tongue and your gums and inside your mouth, and it's not the best part of the liqueur. Every once in a while, it's not true. Something lingers around and it's pleasant, but not most of the time. This one, it just doesn't linger around. It's just while you're drinking it. So I'll give the mouthfeel a 5 on that. So the buzz factor and alcohol level, that's kind of hard to, it's not super strong. I mean, I've been drinking a lot, obviously, but I drink other things, you know, that are of this amount, and it's already starting to fill me. Let me see, let me just polish this off and see if. I mean, it's 42.3, not crazy, but not super weak. It's got a little bit more sweetness, I just realized, compared to Jaeger. That's what's kind of, that and the flowery taste, that's what's differentiating it. I still give the mouthfeel a 5. What I do now notice is that it's no flavor, but it's like leaving a little bit of a tingle in certain parts of the tongue, more in the back, and maybe on the lips if it kind of touched a little bit too more with the liquor. Really hard to say. I think I'm just gonna give this as a neutral as far as, again, when we're talking about the other stuff, that's my opinion where it ranks, you know, low score bad, high score good. But with the buzz factor, it's really just, again, my opinion as far as how strong I think it is, and that's neither good nor bad. I mean, it could have a low score and that could be a good thing, or it could be a high score and be a bad thing, or vice versa. I think it's just gonna be just a 2.5. It's not anything that'll knock you on your butt. Probably the most dangerous thing about that is that you can keep drinking this and you don't think you're getting you know, wasted, but at some point it's gonna catch up with you. But it doesn't really seem, it seems really mild as far as the buzz factor goes. I just say a 2.5, because again, it's not a bad thing. Here's what I thought about as far as score-wise. It's about a 3.58, something like that. So it's respectable, above average. Yeah, I would say overall I like it. It's not the most incredible thing I drink on its own, but it's good. And honestly, from what I can tell from my research, I mean, you could drink it straight on its own, but it really seems like it's part of other cocktails mixes. So you have some other lead cocktail, and you know, this is just one of the other ingredients that kind of supplements it. But for today's mix section, since this is Galliano's video, the mix I have has this as the primary one. And I got the mix actually right off the bottle itself. It's a Galliano Sour. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I would do these mixes and just look them up on the web, and just they'd be all like text-based, you know, these are the ingredients, here to do it. And they would always feel like there'd be some slight gaps as far as, okay, it didn't mention ice in the ingredients, but now it's saying add ice, and say how much or what style, if it matters or not. It's just the taste. And then finally it occurred to me, wait a minute, if I need to know how to do these the right way, just go to YouTube, like where I'm at right now. So the mix in the bottle gives no instruction. It just has just the ingredients. That's it. It doesn't tell you how to do it or just here's the things. I guess you're supposed to figure it out. But I'm gonna give credit to another YouTuber, Steve the Bartender. There'll be like a link in the description below. Check out his YouTube. He made a video on how to make the Galliano Sour. Looks like he's got, you know, a lot of following and a lot of good stuff on there. If you want really, I think he's focused just more on mixing, showing you how to mix this and that. So I'm gonna give him a lot of credit to that, but then I'm gonna show you basically more or less an interpretation of how he does it. So he's a bartender, so obviously he's got a little bit more style about it. I'm gonna show you my down and dirty version of this. With that all out of the way, let's go ahead into the mix section. So here we are, we're gonna make the Galliano Sour. Like I said, mine is based off Steve the Bartender's, but there are some minor differences that I'll try to remember to point out as we go along. So the first thing that we have to do a dry shake of the egg white. Keep in mind, I'm doing this in 2025 when egg prices are still extremely expensive, so it's probably the most expensive drink I make this year. And for separating the egg white, I'm gonna actually do that off camera just because it's a little bit laborious and it's not, the way I do it's not necessarily the cleanest thing, but it's not that hard. You're just gonna crack the egg and let the egg white pour out and make sure the yolk stays in. Not really no point of showing that on camera, but I'll do that off camera, but we'll come back, we'll have egg white and we'll go from there. So we're back here, got my egg white, you know, it's gooey goodness. It doesn't really say how much in either the recipe. I do know that in Steve, he gives kind of amount, I think, in milliliters. I think it's just a matter of taste, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna, considering how expensive eggs are, I'm gonna get the most out of it, so I got as much as I could. I'm gonna transfer here though, just to make it pour a little bit easier and make sure I don't have any stray shell pieces. Just for reference, mine here is about 1/4, which sounds about right from my research. But the reason why we want that separated out is that we're gonna take our shaker, and just FYI, I do have a new shaker, but this requires straining, and that one doesn't have a built-in strainer, and I don't have a separate strainer, so I'm gonna skip my classic one here. So what we do is we take 1 cube, and we're gonna do something called a dry shake. This is a new thing for me. The egg in there, and the yolk, or not the yolk, but the egg white. We're gonna clamp this down, and we're just gonna do a dry shake. It's not very long, 10-15 seconds at most. I think the term is to emulsify. And that's more than enough. Next, we're at the Galliano, and we are looking to get 2 ounces. It's another thing, a reason why I don't really like this bottle. It makes for an odd pour. Kind of gets unbalanced. I'm sure professional bartenders probably have those special little caps that makes for an easier pour. Next, we got the lemon juice. Now, as always, it always recommends fresh. I'm trying to just go at speed here, so I'm gonna do, you know, just like concentrate, but you're more than welcome to use fresh. And yeah, it's gonna be 1 ounce of the fresh lemon juice, or whatever lemon juice you got. Okay. Next, we're gonna add simple syrup. It's just 1/4, not much. Pour that in there. Now this is where my version is a little bit different from Steve the Bartender's, is because he doesn't have the bitters. Mixed back here, it does have bitters. Just a dash of Angostura or aromatic bitters. Just a dash. We're gonna fill the shaker with ice, which I appreciate that it's specifically told to fill it with ice, and fill the whole thing. And specifically cubed ice. Believe it or not, we're almost done. What we're gonna do is give this a shake. A little bit longer than we did with the dry shake for the egg white, but not like a ridiculous amount. You wanna fill our glass with more ice cubes. Cubed is what you would recommend. There you go. Top that out. All in there. The only other added thing we could do is add a lemon zest or lemon twist. And that's how you make a Galliano Sour. Now I'm gonna pull the curtains back a little bit here and let you know in on something. I have to make 2 of these drinks to make these videos. One I make off camera so I can do this part of the review. And then another one where I create it on camera. So I haven't done the part where on camera I show you how to mix it yet. Every time it's always an adventure, so hopefully it's gonna go smooth when I get to that part. While I was making it though, I was actually referencing Steve the Bartender's video, because it's a good reference. And something it reminded me of in the video that I didn't bother putting in my notes because in my research it always came up that it's got a vanilla flavor, vanilla this, the strong vanilla flavor. And now that I think about it, yeah, it is there, but it wasn't as pronounced in my opinion. I mean, it's there, but it's, like I said, it makes me more of Jaeger, which, yeah, it's more like a black licorice than vanilla, but it's kind of in there. And then the flowery part, that's where I think it tastes most of that vanilla. But that was just something that I bring up because it's in a lot of other people's opinion, but I didn't notice it. And another thing that came up while I was referencing that is that Steve referred to it as a sweet liqueur, and yeah, it's sweet, but it didn't seem like the most candy-ish kind of liqueur you could get. But yeah, so just a couple other notes there. It's got some vanilla notes along with that Jaeger black licorice flavor and that flowery kind of taste to it. And yeah, it's a bit on. It leans more to the sweet side. But I don't think it's like a super strong sweet flavor in my opinion. Encourage you to check out Steve's version. The one I did was, like I said, it was based off the bottle on the back and had the bitters, and his version didn't, so I don't know if that's gonna be a difference or not. But let's get to the review of the mix. It's a Galliano Sour. Pretty simple. Don't really have much experience with sours, maybe a whiskey sour, and I don't know if that's really the same thing. Start with the aroma. It's just very light version of what it was before. I mean, before it was that Jaeger smell, that licorice smell. It's still there, but it's just more neutralized, very more faint. Maybe if you don't like Jaeger, maybe this mixed version will take the edge off it and you'll be able to enjoy it. If you really like Jaeger and that's what you're looking forward to, is that black licorice smell and taste, then this might hold you back a little bit, but yeah, it's not bad. I give that, just because maybe it's not as forward facing as straight. When it's straight, I would say that's like a 4. The appearance, I gotta say, I don't know what it is about the appearance exactly, but I do find it very appealing. It's got like a cross between pineapple and orange juice. So maybe Toro knew what he was doing when he's made that gold color. Yeah, it's just something, I don't know what it is, but it's something very appealing about the way the colors and the material looks in there. You can kind of see a little bit part of the white egg yolk, or just the white egg. And yeah, I'll give that actually a 5. It is kind of appetizing and appealing. So the next 2, flavor and mouthfeel. So let's see how that goes. Kind of almost like it was when it was straight as far as the experience. It's got a very strong forward initial taste, and it's still that Jaeger black licorice flavor, and then see what comes next. Although it's a little bit more mellow, and then it trails off again with the sort of flowery, those vanilla notes, but it's all smoother and not as intense. And I guess there really isn't a third act, because black licorice kind of tapers off. Yeah, it's actually slightly less complex when it's mixed than when it's straight, but it's not a bad thing. It's this complex because it only has 2 phases, but they're both kind of mellowed out, especially the Jaeger stuff, that licorice, black licorice, that upfront flavor. Still a good end. It's a nice soft, flowery with a little bit of vanilla float and notes. And then what's different from when I had it straight, I mean, obviously it's ice before I had it at room temperature, but this is more refreshing. I see this more as summertime. It's very kind of has a cooling effect. And something occurred to me that kind of like the Chinar video, check that out, I have it on my site, on my channel. I'm thinking this is something, because I remember reading when people would use Galliano. It's mostly on mixes, but they all did mention, I remember reading something that it's kind of like you would enjoy it after a meal or during a meal to kind of settle your stomach. It's kind of, some Chinars like that. So it's kind of have that. Kind of makes sense because they both kind of have a lot of herbs and spices and kind of medicinal kind of flavor profile. I would say a solid 4.5 on the flavor. And then as far as the mouthfeel, like I said, it's very refreshing now. You know, we don't want this on a blustery cold night necessarily, but on a hot summer day, this would really hit the spot. And I would say it's very light. Like I said before, there wasn't really any, and it's very oily, but luckily nothing really sticking around, and there was a little bit of where it kind of did linger. It would kind of give you a tingle or even a numbing kind of sensation, and that's gone. Not that that numbing, tingling sensation was terrible or anything like that, but now that's completely eliminated. So yeah, I would still say it's a solid 5 on the mouthfeel. The buzz factor, alcohol level, it's the same thing. I mean, because the other ingredients, you know, there aren't any other really alcohol ingredients. I mean, the bitters, the egg white, and the lemon juice. So it's just still just the Galliano, and now it's got a, in this mix, it's, you know, it's watered down, sharing with other ingredients the effects they can impart. But so I'll still say it's still probably a 2.5. You know, the most dangerous thing about this is you drink it and you don't feel anything, so you drink another and you just keep on going, and then you get yourself into trouble. But if you drink it responsibly, yeah, this is, you know, probably enjoyable, and to just the taste, and even if you're not chasing after a buzz or anything like that, but if you're trying to avoid that and trying to stay a little more coherent, that's a good. So another 2.5. Like I said, that's not either good or bad. It's just, it's kind of middle of the road as far as what I think this can do alcohol buzz, like a buzz wise. So I did a little quick math off camera, and it looks like at the mix section it comes out to about a 4.2. So a little bit bump, a little bit better as a mix, which kind of makes sense because, like I said, during my research, you know, you can drink it straight, but that's really not how it's mostly used by professional bartenders and how it's recommended to use it. It's always part of something else. Something else takes the lead. And this is sort of something there to complement it, to give it a little bit of a, change the profile, whatever the main ingredient is, and give it a different, a little bit more of a bump in the alcohol level, I guess. In its own mix, it's, yeah, it does better than it does straight. Solid 4.2. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, I can see myself purchasing this, if not for the annoyingly tall bottle. I'm sure there's other brands, and hopefully they're of good quality as well. I'll have to check them out if they're on par with Galliano, but got a more traditional shape or more easier to store shape, I might go with that. But that aside, about the shape and the inconvenience of the tall bottle, it's a great product, yeah. I mean, I can definitely see why it was popular once, peaked in the 70s, and then how bowls kind of went back with, oh my God, who was our Italian friend's name? Marasachi and Carici. But yeah, it's good. I can see why it's a staple in bartenders, and it's mainly used in other mixes. It's good. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who already knew about this. I'm kind of late to the party. If you know more about this and have your thoughts and comments about it, obviously share that. That always helps. Obviously, I barely touched on the history. I'm still trying to do that, but I'm trying to go not overload it. Luckily, there's plenty of other products that they have, all with the tall bottle, unfortunately, but I think there's like a coffee one. I think there's even one that's more of a specifically vanilla version of this. So maybe that's where I can kind of get that more vanilla experience. So I definitely, well, glad to hit this brand up again and try the other stuff, and then hopefully going a little bit more deeper on the history part of it, you know, why and when Arturo sold and who the other owners are, and why it peaked in the 70s, even though every owner was sort of messing with the formula and the production of it, and then the tail end. There's definitely some interesting stuff there I could tell from my basic research there. And other than that, just remember to enjoy the spirits responsibly. Until next time, take care.